There was elation on Phillip Island this week when Baillieu Government Minister Matthew Guy reversed a controversial planning decision. The minister's backflip followed a high-profile community campaign against development on the island. But across the state, there's other less well-known planning decisions that are raising eyebrows, as Cheryl Hall reports.
This is the farmland that has brought planning issues in Victoria to a head. Butting up against the defined boundaries of Phillip Island's main towns, its rezoning for housing had already been rejected by an independent planning panel.
There were over 100 submissions to council and to the independent panel who reviewed all the submissions. Out of that 100, only one wanted the land rezoned, and that was from the landowner.
The landowner did not go to the council. Instead, he employed a planning consultant to take his request straight to the Planning Minister, Matthew Guy.
We've been doing 10 years of strategic planning. Ventnor had already been written into the local planning policy with its township boundaries clearly defined. No strip development along the coast was to be allowed. And then to find out a couple of years later that the minister was going to rewrite our local planning policy because of a landowner who wants his land rezoned. That's not a strategic way of going about planning.
The minister wrote to the council last week approving the rezoning to assist the government's objective of affordable housing through provision of a significant residential land supply. But that decision was overturned yesterday after overwhelming community protest. Even American teenage singer Miley Cyrus spread the word to millions of her fans through Twitter.
Fortunately, through all this community support and a bit of international star power, we've been able to get our voice back and been heard, and we're very thankful that Matthew Guy has listened.
This coalition government believes that communities have a right to be heard. We were elected on that commitment and we intend to maintain it.
And I've got to give it to him because you don't see many politicians say, well, basically I've buggered it up and I've had a listen and I've changed position.
The minister has clearly stated his policy of creating more residential land to make housing more affordable. This year he's approved the rezoning of thousands of blocks of land and approved high-density developments in places that range from Ballarat to Werribee to Footscray. Some of those decisions have baffled councils.
It's a bit hard to understand what is driving some of these decisions. I personally suspect that there is they've had a number of issues that they'd wanted to clear when they'd been elected.
7 decisions that have caused concern include approval for a high-rise tower in Footscray, another in St Kilda, and a proposal to rezone land near Torquay that was later abandoned.
There's a lot of nervousness in our sector at the moment about where we're heading in the planning area.
And while Phillip Island residents are celebrating the minister's change of mind, others nearby at Cape Patterson are frustrated their concerns weren't heard.
There is alarm bells ringing along the coast of Victoria. We had a very good coastal policy to a situation where that policy is being thrown out the window by the actions, and apparently unilateral actions, of one minister.
The minister's office says he was asked to make a decision about the Cape Patterson development after it had dragged on for 8 years. But the local Ratepayers and Residents Association maintains the development is contrary to the Victorian coastal strategy that aims to stop strip development along the beach.
I've heard said that there's actually not an area of land on the coast around Victoria that a developer doesn't either own or is watching very carefully.